The sun is shining in Seattle. It's week 2 of the NFL on CBS, and the fans are back for the first time since 2019 here at Lumen Field. Home opener for the Seahawks as they take on the Titans. And hi everyone, welcome to Seattle. Back with the Hall of Famer James Lofton. I'm Andrew Catalan. Sherry Burris will join us coming up. Great pregame scene here in Seattle. They are ready to go and possibly ready to see history as Russell Wilson looks for his 100th career win.
You talk about those wins, and that's really what you want from a quarterback. Yes, you would like great percentage completions, you love a lot of yards, you love touchdowns, but Russell Wilson delivers wins. In his first 9 seasons, at least 9 wins, and in Super Bowls he's been 1-1, and he talks about wanting more Super Bowl victories than anyone who's ever played the game. We know he's talking about Tom Brady.
Yeah. Disappointing week 1 effort for Tennessee. Arizona blew him out. They've got to get Derrick Henry in that offense rolling today.
They certainly do. When you have a guy who is the back-to-back rushing title guy, Derrick Henry, you want to get him the ball. One of 8 men to rush for 2,000 yards. And in addition to that, you take his battery mate, Julio Jones. You talk about all-time best receivers, 95.5 yards per game. That's more than any receiver has ever averaged in NFL history.
Pre-game injury news, and it's not good for Tennessee. Here's Sherry Burris.
No, it's not, Andrew. Titans left tackle Taylor Lewan is out today with a right knee injury. He's during pre-game warm-ups working on drills. You'll see it here where he suffers that injury. We saw him limping into the team locker room with the head athletic trainer. And Andrew, I want you to keep in mind, this is the same knee that Lewan tore his right ACL last October. And that O-line, they struggled in week 1, giving up 6 sacks, Andrew.
Tennessee won the toss. They've elected to defer. It is loud here at Lumen Field. These fans are fired up, and so are we. Week 2 of the NFL on CBS. Bullock, the new Tennessee kicker, kicks it off. It's a touchback in Seattle, and Russell Wilson will get the football at the 25-yard line. Russell Wilson looking for his 100th career win. If he pulls it off, he would be the 3rd fastest in terms of starts. Only Tom Brady and Joe Montana would have done it quicker than Wilson, who's 55-17 at home, and he was telling us on Friday how pumped he was to be back in front of these fans. On first down, a handoff to Chris Carson trying the left side, and he picks up a yard on the play. So we take a look at the starting lineup for Seattle on offense. Damian Lewis, the left guard, was questionable to play today with a groin injury, but he is out there, and this is something that new offensive coordinator Shane Waldron wants to use a lot. Tempo, no huddle, and we're seeing it here with Seattle on 2nd and 8. Wilson fires left, and it's caught by DK Metcalf. Short of the chains. It'll be 3rd and short for the Seahawks. Now they're saying it's incomplete.
Yeah, you ended up with a little extra adrenaline from Russell Wilson, and he just puts a little too much mustard on this ball. It never comes down. You can see it rocket out of his hand. Metcalf only getting his right foot down in bounds.
Did not get both in, so quickly 3rd and 8. Wilson chased out. Nobody home, and Wilson lunges for the first down, and it looks like he's going to be just short. It's going to be 4th and 1. Danico Autry was pursuing for Tennessee.
You take the missed opportunity on 2nd down with the pass that goes out of bounds to DK Metcalf and Russell Wilson. What we heard from the Tennessee Titans is that they want to plaster down the field. You saw Russell Wilson looking to throw, having to run at the end and coming up just short. So the first down marker.
4th and 1. Michael Dixon, the punter, comes out. And he boots it away. Chester Rogers, the deep man for the Titans, lets it go over his head, and it bounces into the end zone. So it will be a touchback, a 66-yard punt, but a net of 46. It's a tough go for Ryan Tannehill and the Titans offense last week against Arizona. They managed just 248 yards, second fewest in the NFL in week 1. And you see Tannehill turning it over 3 times, his most since joining Tennessee. Derrick Henry on first down, and he gets a yard. You heard from Sherry. Taylor Lewan going down in pregame warmups with an injury. He's out today, and right now it's Ty Sambrailo at left tackle. David Quessenberry is at right tackle. He played a little bit of left tackle last year, so that's something the Titans could do if Sambrailo struggles. Taken down for a loss. Poona Ford, the tackle, a loss of 2. Another big injury for Tennessee today. Anthony Ferkser, the tight end, is out with a knee injury. He was listed as questionable. And of course, keep an eye on Jamal Adams on the Seattle defense. It's 3rd and 11.
3 wide receivers down here at the bottom of the screen.
Tannehill trying to communicate the play. This crowd is rocking. Over the middle, it's caught, but sort of a first down. It was Chester Rogers on the completion. Bobby Wagner the first to get there. 4th and short, and Mike Vrabel for the moment keeping the offense on the field. And now it looks like he's going to make a change. Tannehill coming off.
And because they are substituting late, they're going to have to give the Seahawks time to substitute. The officials will stand over the ball. They're going to get the kicking ball into the game, but he's going to stand there and wait and allow the Seahawks to make their substitutions.
Freddie Swain is the deep man for Seattle. Back to receive the punt from Brett Kern. Kern's punt bounces around the 30-yard line and out of bounds. 11:23 to go in the opening quarter. No score in Seattle. Back in Seattle last week against the Colts, the Seahawks only had 1 3-and-out, and they had a 3-and-out on their first possession. There's Pete Carroll. Happy belated birthday to Carroll. He turned 70 this past Wednesday, the oldest active head coach in the NFL.
No, the most active head coach in the NFL.
That too. Well said. On first down, it's a play fake. Wilson setting up to go deep. He's going to take a shot. Lockett is down there. He's got it. Big play. Wilson to Lockett. A 51-yard gain.
You have to be a connoisseur of the deep ball to really appreciate Russell Wilson. Tyler Lockett, very patient in running his route, getting right on top of the safety and then dropping that ball in. It's almost from the top of the stadium.
Carson gets away from the first and is tackled at the 14. We met with Tyler Lockett on Friday and we asked him, how do you track those deep balls? And he said a lot of it's from punt returns, but also early in his career he was only getting 1 or 2 targets a game. And he said, I knew that I had to make a play on them because those were my only chances. So those 50-50 balls I had to win early in my career, and that set the tone now for the rest of his career. 2nd and 5. Carson again.
See, you call them 50-50 balls. I call them 90-10 balls.
Yeah.
The receiver believes he's going to come up with that because he knows where that ball is coming from. He knows who's it's intended for. And Tyler Lockett, you know, Pete Carroll said, you're tracking the ball like Willie Mays. And he went, who? You mean Ken Griffey Jr.?
The deep ball, something Wilson has excelled at. Most 40-yard completions in the NFL since he entered the league in 2012. Travis Homer in it, running back on 3rd and 4. Wilson looking for Homer. Now he's going to pump it. Throws end zone, incomplete. Was looking for Lockett in the corner, and Pete Carroll will send out his kicker Jason Myers on 4th down.
You know, it's not there on the first read. You can see great pressure by the Tennessee Titans, forcing Russell Wilson out of the pocket, and just a little bit of an overthrow. He tried to take a little off of that pass and drop it into Lockett, but it's just a little too much momentum while he's rolling out to his right.
First field goal attempt of the season for Jason Myers. It's from 31 yards away. The punter Dixon is the holder. And Myers has now made 36 consecutive field goals dating back to the 2019 season. 3-0 Seattle. Top of the Titans. Big play on that drive. The 51-yard connection between Wilson and Lockett. Myers boots it away with Rodgers back deep for Tennessee. And he's going to take this out of his own end zone. He was 2 yards deep, and he is spun down shy of the 20. Not a good decision there by Chester Rogers. Well, the deep ball between Wilson and Lockett, we saw it last week, and we see it again today.
And the most amazing thing about it is how far the ball actually travels in the air. Normally you think about throwing a deep ball about 40 to 44 yards down the field. Russell Wilson lets this ball go at the 25, and it's inside the 20 on the opposite end, almost 60 yards in the air down the field.
Tennessee starting this drive at its own 15-yard line.
I think Tennessee needs to counterpunch and try and throw the ball over the head of the Seattle Seahawks.
Tannehill to the air on 1st down, and he comes back the other way, and it is complete at the 20. It was Nick Westbrook-Akina on the reception.
And once again, we just talk about the depth of the throw from Tyler Lockett. He does a great job in making the move late on the defensive back, getting right on top of him, not making the move too early, getting past him, and then the throw from Russell Wilson right on the button.
On 2nd and 4, the give is to Henry, and he spins his way forward for a couple to bring up 3rd and 2. Ryan Tannehill telling us that they didn't have to use the silent count at all last year with no fans in attendance. This is the first time they've had to use a silent count since the 2019 season, something they repped and practiced all week, with Mike Vrabel cranking up the music in Nashville as well during practice.
So right here, he can communicate with the offensive line, but he's probably got to give hand signals to the wide receivers out wide. Look at Julio Jones looking in there trying to see what are we going to run.
And movement up front. Sam Brilo, who is replacing the injured Lewan at left tackle, moved. Our referee today is John Hussey.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 10. 5-yard penalty results in a 1st down.
So that was Benson Mayowa who moved first.
You know, that's such a slight move. I don't even know if he got into the neutral zone. You can, you know, shift a little bit, move. But a fortunate call for Tennessee. They're going to get to keep this drive going. You get a second chance to generate some offense. I'm still surprised they haven't gone play action and gone deep yet.
Jamal Adams coming on a blitz. Henry picks it up. Tannehill goes deep for Brown, and he dropped it. He felt the footsteps coming, Quandre Diggs, but A.J. Brown has to make that play.
You know, you got great protection on the back end and out and up move, and that ball's coming straight at him. And, you know, he's trying to catch it in his hands, which is exactly what he should do. You can see the eyes as they start to go to his hands. They see Diggs coming out, but Diggs was far enough away where he could have easily made that catch.
He had 5 drops last year and a big one here in the opening quarter. 2nd and 10. Henry. And some hard running up to the 35-yard line to make it 3rd and short. Well, Derrick Henry was held in check last week, only picking up 58 yards on the ground against the Cardinals. Last year, he had 2 games where he was held to less than 65 yards. And the next time out, he went for over 200. So, obviously, the Titans hoping that pattern repeats itself. Third down and 3. Tannehill has time, and he finds his man. Off to the races there is Tommy Hudson in his first NFL game. He was elevated off the practice squad yesterday, and he picks up 14.
All right, that's a great job by the offensive line because they get stalemates all across the board and just enough time for Tannehill to look downfield, nothing downfield. Where's my outlet receiver? Finding Hudson coming out of the backfield.
Gets the call up today with Ferkser out with the knee injury, and Tommy Hudson has his first NFL catch. 1st and 10. Tannehill fires over the middle, caught by A.J. Brown. Good for a Tennessee first down. Quandre Diggs on the tackle after a 14-yard gain.
You know, there are big receivers, and we see a couple of them in this ball game, but there are hard-hitting defensive backs. You don't have to be a big defensive back to hit hard. Diggs, 5'9", 197 pounds, coming in, smacking Brown to the ground.
Seventh play of the drive for Tennessee. Henry takes off a couple of tacklers and then is knocked down hard at the 38-yard line. No gain on the play. Jordan Brooks makes the tackle.
You know, we talked to Bobby Wagner, the middle linebacker for the Seattle Seahawks, and he said he studies so much film that he can just feel the run. And we said, well, you know, what kind of techniques are you thinking about while you're watching? He said, sometimes I just stare at a picture, and I just look at it and try and envision what's going to happen. You can see he read that one perfectly.
Tannehill completes it to Swaim, who's upended by Jamal Adams. First catch of the season for Jeff Swaim, and a 5-yard pickup makes it 3rd and 5.
And this is where the Tennessee Titans would like to live in this ball game. Manageable 3rd down situations. Get away from those 3rd and 9 plus. Get in that 3rd and 5 range where you feel like you can do some damage. Right now, Seattle having a hard time getting lined up.
Bobby Wagner
but the crowd is helping them out now.
But Bobby Wagner told us it's just as hard for the defense to communicate in this environment. We all know it's tough on the offense. 3rd and 5. Tannehill, and it is caught. Julio Jones had it, juggled it, has it again, and it's good for a Tennessee first down. 17-yard gain for Jones.
Now, I would go fast and try and run this play so that Pete Carroll doesn't take too many looks at it. But he certainly has it, and it just gets punched out right there at the end.
Tennessee in the red zone, 1st and 10 from the 16. And a timeout called before the snap by Seattle. Tennessee 2 for 2 now, 3rd downs on this drive.
First charge timeout, Seattle. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Well, tonight, Cedric the Entertainer hosts television's biggest night. It's the 73rd Emmy Awards. Tonight at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on CBS.
Is he going to have a bunch of guys from his neighborhood there?
Pete Carroll, Ken Norton Jr. Pete Carroll telling us on Friday that Norton Jr., the defensive coordinator, is one of the greatest competitors he's ever been around, now in his 4th year as Carroll's defensive coordinator. Last year, Tennessee had a lot of success in the red zone, scoring touchdowns at a 75% clip. That was 2nd best in the NFL. Tannehill putting together a nice drive, 5 out of 6, 55 yards, and the one incompletion was the drop by A.J. Brown.
Or you're on an island down here against Julio Jones at the bottom.
Henry. Not a lot of running lanes so far in this first quarter for Henry. Mayo and Brooks combine on the stop. 6 carries, 9 yards for Henry here in the first quarter as Tennessee goes no huddle.
You know, and the interesting thing is that the Seattle Seahawks do not give you a lot of different looks at the line of scrimmage. So they're trying to get these plays called at the line of scrimmage, which is tough.
Tannehill high in the end zone. Chester Rogers the closest target. Tannehill was hit as he threw it. It was L.J. Collier applying the pressure on Tannehill. Collier was a healthy scratch last week, which, as Pete Carroll said, he was not too happy about. Carroll said, don't worry, you're part of our plans, and he's out there here today. And this is the loudest we've heard it so far this afternoon. 3rd and 9. Here comes the heat. Tannehill fires for Brown. A lot of contact in the end zone, and no flag. Coverage by DJ Reed, and it's 4th down.
Trying to pick on the little guy. DJ Reed only 5'9". This ball just doesn't give A.J. Brown enough of a chance to come down at it.
So now it'll be the first field goal attempt for Tennessee's latest kicker. This is Randy Bullock. He replaces Michael Badgley, who was cut on Monday. A 33-yard attempt for Bullock. Low snap, kick on the way, and it is good. So Bullock 1 for 1 in his Titans career. And with 2:45 to go in the first, we are tied at 3 on CBS. Ryan Tannehill has 6 completions in the first quarter to 6 different receivers, and that last drive resulted in a 33-yard field goal by Randy Bullock. It's 3-3, and Bullock is set to kick it away to DJ Dallas. And this will be a touchback. Well, this week, Seahawks front office staff gathered at Lumen Field to create care packages for the residents of Gardner House and Allen Family Center, named after late Seahawks owner Paul Allen. Gardner House and Allen Family Center provides resources and housing for families in the Seattle area experiencing homelessness. So Russell Wilson back to work. Only completion so far today is the 51-yard hookup with Lockett that led to a field goal. Carson on first down, trying to get around the edge on the right side. Good job by that Tennessee defense. NFL Today update. Let's go back to New York. It's JB and Bill Cowher. Coach, a revived Gronk.
Yeah, how about one of the best combos in history? There's Rob Gronkowski's 2nd touchdown of the day. They lead 14-0. That's his 4th of the season with Brady. Back to Andrew Catalog.
Guys, thank you very much. 2nd and 10 here. Quick pass. Wilson completes it to Metcalf, and he is tackled at the 28-yard line. Harold Landry makes the play. Should point out for Tennessee defensively that Jayon Brown, their inside linebacker, out today with a hamstring injury, and he normally wears the green dot, which is the helmet that allows Shane Bowen, the defensive coordinator, to call the plays, and then Brown would call the plays. So wearing that today is David Long. He's getting the start for Brown. Long did not play last week because of a hamstring injury, so a big shuffling on the Tennessee defense. 3rd down and 6. Wilson, and he completes it for a 1st down. It's Freddie Swain moving the chains for Seattle. Well, we know Russ is cooking. Was a big thing in Seattle here last year. What's he cooking up behind these burgers? Winning record each of his first 9 seasons. Only quarterback in NFL history. 271 touchdowns, 4th most since 2012. And we highlighted the deep ball, the most in the league since he entered, and now we're all hungry.
I think one of those was an Impossible Burger.
Final minute of the 1st quarter. Carson. And all over him is Landry, who's been active here defensively. And then Fulton and Metcalf having a few words after that play. Metcalf still jawing a little bit with the Titans corner Christian Fulton. Second down and 8, final 10 seconds of the quarter. Another quick pass to Metcalf, makes the catch, and Jenkins is able to make the tackle immediately for the Titans, and that is the final play of the 1st quarter. Evenly matched through 1. 3-3 on CBS. Broadcast team, I present to you Sherry Burris getting a job done at the fish market. Sherry, great catch yesterday.
Guys, I got to tell you, I was so nervous, but they set me up for success. And James, maybe you can attest to this. I was supposed to really catch and bend at my knuckles to make sure that fish didn't fly through my hand. But hey, maybe I have a future in catching fish at the market. What do you say?
I think you need to get out on the field on 3rd down.
Oh,
3rd and 4. And it's broken up.
Sherry would have had
it. Jenkins breaks it up. We go to New York. NFL Today update with JB and Coach Cowher.
7 plays, 75 yards in the score.
And the Dallas Cowboys have got that running game going. Ezekiel Elliott, 5 yards, 76 yards already rushing. They lead 14-3 over the LA Chargers.
Hey, Andrew and James, we like Sherry right where she is.
Oh, almost blocked, and a flag comes in. Westbrook Akina made contact with the punter Dixon.
Regardless of running or roughing, that's going to be a 1st down because of the distance to go.
Personal foul, roughing the kicker. Defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, 1st down.
Just a critical special teams call against the 2nd-year wide receiver out of Indiana.
You give Russell Wilson a fresh set of downs. It's like playing baseball and giving the team the extra out during the inning. You know something bad is going to happen to you.
In the Mike Vrabel era, Tennessee has the 2nd fewest penalties in the NFL. They committed 7 last week against Arizona, and the first one today gives Seattle a fresh set of downs. This is one of those areas on the field, James, where sudden change, you take a shot deep. Wilson thinking the same way, but nobody home, and Wilson is brought down. To Nico Autry with the sack.
Just a subtle double team from Kevin Byard, who's up near the line of scrimmage. Then he runs out underneath DK Metcalf, and that's exactly where Russell Wilson wanted to go with the football. So great job by Kevin Byard, playing multiple positions. Sometimes he's at free safety, sometimes he's at linebacker. He's bouncing around on the inside there.
And now some movement up front. A false start on Seattle. Looked like Brandon Shell, the right tackle.
False start. Offense, number 72. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, Seattle has won 12 consecutive home openers. That's the longest active streak. And one more win today would tie the NFL record set by Miami from the 76 to 88 seasons. 2nd and 19. This is Swain. And Swain with multiple flags down on the field.
DK Metcalf is.
Whoa, yep. Metcalf and Fulton again. We pointed it out before they were having words, and during the timeout, Pete Carroll had a long talk with Metcalf, trying to tell him to settle down a little bit, and this is carried over.
And Metcalf is going to get called for holding. They're lucky that he's not going to get called for all the extracurricular activities that went on once he got out of bounds.
There's the hold, and then it continues onto the Seattle sideline.
Holding. Offense, number 14. 10-yard penalty enforced from the spot of the foul. 2nd down.
So you've had a sack, an offsides penalty, now holding, promising field position. Now you're getting pushed back to where you almost punted the ball from last time.
And now Metcalf is out for this 2nd down play coming up. He's rocking the blue hair because he says that during the ups and downs of a season, you have to stay cool-headed.
So Tennessee has declined the penalty because of the lost yardage on the play. So they've got 3rd down now.
At this moment, he needs red hair. He's pretty angry on that sideline. 3rd and 14 with Travis Homer in at running back. Pressure coming. Wilson is sacked. Tennessee getting the pressure on Wilson. Jeffrey Simmons, one of the first to get back there, a loss of 7.
Boy, the Titans are fired up on their sideline, and they should be, because you're getting a squeeze from the outside. The outside guys are staying in their rush lanes, but then you're getting that pressure right up the middle, and you're beating the guards, and Jeffrey Simmons is a handful for most guards in the NFL.
Simmons and Autry will split the sack. Dixon back out to punt, and this one down towards the corner, but too far again. Dixon led the NFL last year in punts inside the 20, but that's his 2nd touchback here of the first half. Back at Lumen Field, tied at 3 between Tennessee and Seattle. Titans start this drive at their own 20-yard line. And a give to Henry. Pushes the pile forward and out to the 25-yard line. Back in the broadcast booth with the Hall of Famer James Lofton. I'm Andrew Catalon. We expected a great scene here. We've gotten that so far, but a slow start for the Seahawks.
And I think it's the nervousness of playing in front of your home crowd. I think Tennessee went through it last week. They were playing at home. Seattle, great expectations, and it's hard to live up to those crowds and what they expect from you. In Tennessee so far is holding their own on the road.
2nd down and 6. Play fake. Tannehill taking a deep shot down the field, looking for Julio Jones. What a catch! He holds on and is brought down at the 25-yard line. A 51-yard gain.
We talked about Russell Wilson and his ability to throw the deep ball. Well, the same can be said for Ryan Tannehill, because with the play action, with Derrick Henry, linebackers getting sucked up, that ball was dropped in perfectly to Julio Jones. Big-time catch by one of the big-time receivers in the NFL.
So Lockett with a 51-yard grab, and now Jones with a 51-yard connection. And Julio Jones already with more yards today than he did all of last week against Arizona. Tannehill looking for more in the air. Fires to Jones again. He makes the catch at the 11. Bobby Wagner on the tackle for Seattle. But another 15 yards. Tannehill to Jones. Let's check in with Sherry.
Well, guys, it was this week where Mike Vrabel told us he didn't want his guys to be nervous about playing perfect, and that goes for Julio Jones. After that first rough outing, he said he didn't feel like himself in week 1 and wanted to be his best self out here against Seattle.
Yeah, and Vrabel took a pretty blatant shot at Jones this week, too. Not happy about the unnecessary roughness penalty that he committed last week. And Jones said, I'm anxious to get out there today and get that taste out of my mouth. So far, so good. Flag is down as Henry takes the ball down to the 3-yard line. See what the penalty marker is.
You know, the wide receiver going in motion, cut towards the line of scrimmage before the snap count. I mean, just a small thing that's not even part of the play.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 18. Turning upfield prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Josh Reynolds, who they picked up during the offseason from the Rams, you know, you're going in motion. You're going to stay out wide anyways. You're not coming back inside to block the force at that point.
Couple big penalties now against Tennessee. One on special teams did not prove costly. Let's see what happens here as Henry had the ball the way down to the 3-yard line. Tannehill chased out. Pump fakes. He'll keep it himself at the 10 and out of bounds at the 8-yard line. Chased out by Bobby Wagner. But Tannehill gets some of those yards right back for Tennessee. A gain of 7. We mentioned before, Tennessee has been excellent in the red zone dating back to 2019. And there you see Seattle has had a good run as well. 3rd best in the NFL.
You've got Julio Jones matched up on the bottom of DJ Reed, 6'3" against 5'9".
Henry down to the 5. Ball squirted out late as Henry was going to the ground. But it is Tennessee football, and it's 3rd and goal. And this is why Tennessee had to practice the silent count all week. It's for plays like this. We'll let you hear it on 3rd and goal. Tannehill is decked. Bobby Wagner coming free for the 3rd down sack.
Great job by the defensive tackle, picking the guard, and then the tackle not being able to slide down inside to squeeze the gap.
First sack of the season for Wagner. And that penalty on Reynolds proves costly as Bullock comes on for the field goal, and it is good. With 8:18 to go in the first half, Tennessee has taken the lead. But they had the ball down at the 3, a penalty, and then the sack. And the Seahawks defense holds Tennessee to a field goal. Bobby Wagner coming up with the 3rd down sack for Seattle. That forced a field goal attempt, which was good by Bullock, who will now kick it away to DJ Dallas. And the ball is off the tee. It is a bit breezy today, but we've had mostly sunny skies in Seattle. We know that could change at any moment, but just a perfect day for the fans to be back at Lumen Field for the first time in 2 seasons. Bullock with a short kick, fielded and then dropped by Dallas at the 7, scoops it up and then tackled right there at the 17-yard line. So we go back to the sack by Wagner. He now has 23.5 sacks in his career.
And when you think about Bobby Wagner, remember, he's the last link to the Legion of Boom, that defense that Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor, Richard Sherman. And Bobby Wagner has been a dominant force since 2012, since he came into the league. Lots of tackles. And he's got those big muscles, too.
Now in his 10th year. He thought about changing to number 9 with the new rule this year, but he would have had to buy out all the 54 jerseys, and he said it was too expensive. Wilson throwing, connects with Metcalf, who knocked Evans's mouthpiece out. Or maybe it was his own mouthpiece. Either way, it looked pretty cool with the mouthpiece flying as Metcalf picks up a first down.
And you know, when you see somebody with a body like DK Metcalf, that's exactly the way you expect him to play, taking on an inside linebacker, lowering his shoulder and picking up yards after contact.
Was Metcalf's mouthpiece. DK Metcalf.
Or his pacifier to keep him nice and calm when he's not getting the ball thrown in his direction.
It's Carson across the 35 and up to the 37. Another NFL Today update with JB and Coach Cowher.
2 big players getting it done.
Yeah, another big receiver. How about Mike Williams takes his quick hitch, 12 yards, makes the guy miss. Justin Herbert on the day, 11 of 12, 117 yards. The LA Chargers win for 2, made it. Dallas still leads 14-11.
Andrew Catalan, James Laughlin.
Guys, thank you. Chargers looking for their first start of 2-0 in 9 years. Disley in motion on 2nd and 6. Wilson looking deep, floating one. He's got a man, and guess who? It's Lockett who gets it away. Lockett at the 10. Touchdown! Tackling by the Titans. Elijah Molden missed the tackle, and Lockett has his 3rd score of the year.
You know, if you thought Tyler Lockett had a big year last year when he had 100 receptions and 10 touchdowns, these first 2 games, looks like he's going to be even bigger and badder this season. A little bit of pocket movement by Russell Wilson allowed him to get that ball up and drop it into Lockett.
Extra point by Myers is good. So last week, Lockett had a 69-yard touchdown. And now Wilson and Lockett hook up for 63 yards and a score. The Museum of Flight is the world's largest independent air and space museum, one of Seattle's popular tourist attractions. Tyler Lockett, back-to-back 100-yard receiving games. He now has 12 in his career. Rodgers from his own 2-yard line. And Rodgers hit hard at the 16. Tackle made by Ryan Neal. Let's go back to the touchdown, James.
You know, it really is created by just that little bit of up movement in the pocket by Russell Wilson, and then having the confidence to know where he's throwing the football, who he's throwing it to, reading the coverage. And DK Metcalf, I think, is enjoying Tyler Lockett getting off today.
So Tennessee backed up to start this drive. A.J. Brown in motion. Handoff Henry. And he gets 2 yards. DK Metcalf and A.J. Brown, teammates at Mississippi, drafted 13 spots apart. They were the 4th and 9th wide receivers drafted, but those 2 have the most receiving yards of anyone in that 2019 class. DK number 1, A.J. Brown number 2. They also played against each other in high school, so they go way back. Roommates for a while at Mississippi. As we have an injured player on the field. And Mike Vrabel is going to come out. That's the center. Nope, that's Roger Saffold, the left guard, who they're taking a look at. So the Titans came into this game expecting Lewan to be at left tackle, Saffold to be at left guard. Well, plans changed. Lewan injured in pregame warm-up. Sambrailo taking his place. There's Lewan. And now Saffold is out of the game for the moment, and second-year man Aaron Brewer has come in to play left guard. 2nd down and 8. Tannehill lost the football. The Seahawks jump on it. Recovers the fumble for Seattle. And that is already the 3rd lost fumble this season by Ryan Tannehill.
The pressure happened so fast and it's so sudden. Ryan Tannehill cocked his arm, looking down the field. It wasn't there. Getting ready to try and locate receiver number 2. And that ball comes directly out, and it's a mad scramble, and the Seahawks come up with it.
That was Alton Robinson, the Syracuse product, forcing the fumble. And now it's 1st and goal for Seattle. The Titans had 12 giveaways all of last year. They already have 4 a game and a half into this season. Carson at the 5, lunges. Did he get in? No signal yet. And he is stopped short. 2nd down.
You know, coaches love to go old school on the playbook, and you take a look at this, and it is student body left from USC, and we know that Pete Carroll spent some time there and made a decision whether or not he's going to want this first play reviewed or not.
2nd and goal. Carson right up the middle and in. Touchdown, Seattle. Little pushing and shoving after, and a flag has come out. It's been a little testy out there, but Carson with his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Great kickoff coverage, short field after the turnover, converted into a touchdown.
Seahawks now have 2 touchdowns in their last 3 offensive plays.
After the touchdown, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 56. That penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. This is the first foul in the category. If number 56 commits the same foul, he will be disqualified.
56 is linebacker Jordan Brooks, who would not have been out on the field.
The only other offensive lineman, well, you have 76 and you have 66, but they're putting it on 56.
We'll get that squared away, but Carson, when he scores a rushing touchdown in his career, Seattle is 17-1. Finds the end zone here, and now Myers for the extra point, and it is good. 14 points in the last minute 14 for Seattle. Carson makes it 17-6. Chris Carson celebrated his 27th birthday on Thursday, finds the end zone here today, and there's Ryan Tannehill, who now has turned the ball over 4 times this season already. Last year he only had 8 giveaways the whole year. Rodgers from his own 12. Rodgers gets away from 1 and then lowers his shoulder to cross the 30-yard line. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, join JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cower. They have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And James, the Titans allowed 6 sacks last week, and that offensive line continues to struggle here today. Although good news there, you saw Saffold is back in at left guard.
And defensive linemen salivate when they see sacks on film, and Seahawks coming into this game, all they could talk about was they were going to get after Tannehill.
Henry has 9 carries for 18 yards, has not been able to get going, and here he picks up 3 yards. Injury update, here's Sherry.
Andrew, Roger Saffold is back in the game, but he did leave. We saw him go into the medical tent with a shoulder injury. And I even saw Taylor Lewan walk with him to the tent. As you mentioned, that left side of this O-line is looking pretty banged up.
Yeah, we know Chandler Jones had his way last week for Arizona with 5 sacks, and Tannehill has been under pressure in this second quarter, and Henry has not been able to get going behind that line either. Tannehill to Henry, screen, plenty of blockers in front. Henry has the first down, and then tackled at the 50 by Quandre Diggs, a 15-yard pickup for Henry.
Nice job taking advantage of the pass rush that's ultra aggressive. You throw a screen. You look at this play, though, and it almost seems like Derrick Henry got the minimum out of it. Nice play by Quandre Diggs to come up, make that tackle, wrap those legs up, and you stop the runner, no matter how big he is.
Final 4 minutes of the first half. Tannehill on the slant, connects with Julio Jones for a first down. Knocked down at the 32-yard line, but Julio Jones with 18 yards, and he's gone over 100 already on the day.
We talked to Bobby Wagner about this play because he's the middle linebacker. If you step up trying to stop the run, there's that void area. He says what he's trying to do is turn and locate where that receiver's coming from. That time, Julio Jones is taking his time coming in there and just bending it in slowly, using his big frame to shield himself away from the defensive back.
That's his 59th 100-yard game, tied for 3rd all-time with Marvin Harrison now. Henry up the middle, finds a little bit of room, and one of his better runs today. An 8-yard pickup for Henry, and that is his longest.
Everybody is going to try and stop Derrick Henry. It is mission number 1 when you play against the Tennessee Titans. How successful have people been? Well, he's a back-to-back rushing title guy. Last year he was the 8th player to ever rush for 2,000 yards. So there's some success, but you're not going to major in it if you're a college student.
He's getting a breather here. Jeremy McNichols in at running back. Tannehill taking a deep shot. Westbrook-Akina incomplete, but a flag is down behind the play. Tannehill took a shot on that throw. Robert Kimdichie.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 92. After this is the goal, automatic. First down.
Kimdichie playing his first game since the 2019 season. He was out of football last year. Today is his 27th birthday. Got caught up off the practice squad last night and commits a big penalty here in the second quarter.
You get anxious. I talked about the defensive lineman watching the film, seeing all the sacks, all the hits on the quarterback. It is really a no-step league, and by that I mean you don't get a step and a half to hit the quarterback after he's thrown the ball. If you're not hitting him while that ball's almost still in his hand, you're going to get penalized.
Henry back in at running back. First down and 10. To give to Henry inside the 10, down to the 8-yard line. Tennessee has all 3 timeouts remaining as we come up on the 2-minute warning. And we have hit the 2-minute warning. Tennessee driving. They trail 17-6.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV Stream. Get your TV together. And by Rocket Mortgage. For the playbook on home loans, Rocket Can.
Coming up, Verizon Halftime Report. Our crew back in New York has all the latest scores and highlights coming up On the Verizon halftime report, Russell Wilson getting the offense together. They had 2 timeouts before the half. As you look at the quarterback comparison, and one thing not on there, times hit. Ryan Tannehill has been hit 6 times. Took a number of shots last week as well, 9 times a week ago. He's hanging tough, and the Titans are driving. Henry hit at the line and doesn't get anywhere.
Doesn't surprise me that Tennessee is going to be a little bit conservative here, because they don't want to give the ball back to Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks with more than 90 seconds to play. And you're trying to get the ball. Look at Adams going in there trying to whack that ball out. So now you've kind of let the clock bleed down a little bit, and you have a chance to throw. If you're incomplete here, you can live with it, but you weren't going to be incomplete twice on 2nd and 3rd downs.
Raucous atmosphere, 3rd down and 5. They can get a 1st down without scoring. Tannehill surveying the scene, looking end zone, caught! Julio Jones! Touchdown! His first touchdown as a member of the Titans, and it comes in a big spot on 3rd down.
3 wide receivers in against a base defense for the Seattle Seahawks. And what does that mean? That means that a linebacker is going to end up trying to cover a wide receiver. A little bit of a mismatch. Julio Jones going up high over Jordan
Brooks. Did he get
Brooks.
both feet in, James?
Well, it's going to be reviewed because it's a scoring play, and I think the toe comes in before the heel lands out of bounds. So let's see how that left foot looks. Right foot down, left foot toe, and then heel is inbounds. Nice catch.
Close.
Well, if he's wore size 14s, he might
The
be out of
previous
bounds.
play
Those are 12s.
is under review.
They will take a look at this. As James pointed out, it's automatically reviewed. It's a scoring play, ruled on the field a touchdown.
I believe that that toe of the left foot comes down first before that heel gets anywhere close to being out of bounds. So if your toe's in bounds and you were dragging your foot going the opposite direction, going out of bounds, you would still have 2 feet in bounds.
Pleading your case for a fellow wide receiver. Gene Steratore back in New York. How do you see it, Gene?
I was enjoying listening to James plead his case for the toe heel guys. By rule, though, when we have a toe initiate and then roll into a heel, that entire foot must remain in bounds. Now, I think it's very important that they did rule touchdown on this, because this is really close, and I haven't seen anything that clear and obviously shows that part of the heel out, but it is really tight.
Gene is like that uncle who comes by during Christmas and says, "You're supposed to do things this way." And you say, "Okay, Uncle Gene, we'll do it your way."
I think Gene makes a great point here that it being ruled a touchdown on the field is going to be very tough to overturn this.
You know, Julio Jones didn't do himself any favor by not wearing white shoes either. White shoes would have really blurred that line between field and out of bounds.
You can't miss those shoes for Julio Jones, 32 years old, acquired in June in the trade with the Atlanta Falcons. Tannehill is thinking he's got a touchdown. Helmet's off. He's on the sideline. As John Hussey continues to communicate with the NFL Replay Command Center back in New York.
So Gene's point about the heel and the toe having to be in bounds, once the toe initiates the contact, that the heel has to come down in bounds.
John Hussey has got 2 hands on the headset. Looks like he's ready.
Oh, that fist normally means 4th down by the side judge there.
After review, the receiver's heel came out of bounds, touchdown out of bounds. As a result, it's an incomplete pass. 4th down.
Wow, Mike Vrabel can't believe it. And Gene, they took some time to look at that one, but they overturn it.
So Gene,
you know, guys, I don't really have a problem with it either, James, and I'll tell you why. You look for that slice of green, and when you do look at this, it's difficult to see that slice of green. It appears like Jones is the red of his heel looks like it's out, but I think he might need to go to green shoes, James, instead of blue or red.
If he had just used his toe and hopped out of bounds, would he have been inbounds on the catch?
Yeah, if he would have dragged it or dotted the eye, yes, definitely.
We're back in 30 seconds after this from State Farm. Of the 33 players in NFL history with 10,000 or more receiving yards, no player has fewer touchdowns than Julio Jones. He's got 60, thought he had 61, but overturned, and Randy Bullock comes out to make the 24-yard field goal. But Seattle's going to get the ball back here with 1:05 to play and 2 timeouts.
I think this is when, as a returner, you almost take a chance. Even though you know that there's a lot of time on the clock, but if you get a returnable ball, you take it. This is a little too deep right there.
So no touchdown for Jones, but still 4 catches for 102 yards in the first half.
Well, he's such an inviting target because he can go up, make the catch in traffic, and he can also outrun defenders with his speed. Julio Jones still has everything that you need to be one of the top 5 receivers in the National Football League. Had a couple little minor injuries the last few years, but still a force to be reckoned with.
Only one time in his career as he had back-to-back games with fewer than 50 yards. And after the poor performance a week ago, he's bounced back so far with 102, but could not get that second foot in. See what Seattle does here with Wilson throwing on first down to Homer. Homer gets away from Jenkins and runs out of bounds with the Seattle first down. 11-yard pickup for Travis Homer. Wilson. And another completion, this time to Lockett, who's pushed out by Jenkins.
So let me see if I check my clock right. That's 9 seconds, and you've run 2 plays and gotten out of bounds twice. That's efficiency in the 2-minute drill.
Moving closer to field goal range already. Wilson, wide open man. They just forgot about Freddie Swain, who races into Tennessee territory.
Well, it's easy to forget about Freddie Swain when you have DK Metcalf pushing the defense deep in that area, making them soften up that zone.
And Mike Vrabel wants to slow this down. He calls timeout, his first of the half. Inside the NFL is now streaming. The hardest hitting team of analysts in football provide expert insight and exclusive commentary you won't find anywhere else. Stream new episodes Tuesdays at 9:30 Eastern exclusively on Paramount Plus. Well, it's taken 14 seconds, but Russell Wilson is 3 for 3 for 31 yards in the last 14 seconds. And Shane Bowen, defensive coordinator for the Titans, has to make some adjustments here. Seattle still with the 2 timeouts.
The ability to read the coverage before the snap, pre-snap reads. Russell Wilson is a king at it, and he's looking at this 2-minute drill. A lot of quarterbacks would be worrying about the pass rush, but Russell Wilson is looking down the field, checking out the coverage, checking out the umbrella look over the top of the coverage, and seeing what's underneath.
9 for his last 10 with a touchdown. Wilson looking left and completes it to Metcalf out of bounds. 2 yards shy of a first. 4th catch of the half for DK Metcalf. Russell Wilson, Shane Waldron love tempo. Wilson telling us he's got the whole playbook at the line of scrimmage. And he hands it off to Alex Collins. Room up the middle. Collins tackled at the 13-yard line. His first carry of the season, and it goes for 24 yards.
I think you could have used the timeout there if you were the Seahawks.
They elect not to. Clock is running. Wilson looking, end zone, incomplete. Metcalf the intended target. Christian Fulton had the coverage. Why would you have called timeout?
Because I was tired as a wide receiver. and no, really, because what you want to do, you want to be able to give the ultimate effort on each and every play. And when you've run 5 or 6 plays in a row, you are a little winded. Let your offense recover.
Second down and 10. Wilson to the end zone, incomplete, and a flag comes in. Chris Jackson had the coverage on the play for Tennessee.
Pass interference, defense, number 35. Foul occurred in the end zone. Ball he placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic, first down.
Now Pete Carroll, who's a little bit better coach than I am, has 2 timeouts, so the ability to run the football down here is given to you. Spread them out, expand the defense, pop it through right between the guards.
And Mike Vrabel will call another timeout with 21 seconds to go. Mike Vrabel, 46 years old, and we said, you know, Pete Carroll just turned 70. You think you still want to be coaching when you're 70? And he just said, there's no way I'm going to do this for another 24 years. But Pete Carroll said he connected with all 7 of his grandkids on his birthday this past Wednesday. In fact, he went to his son Nate Carroll's house. Nate's the wide receivers coach, and he played with tackle football with 2 of his grandkids, Nate's boys. That was the way that he spent part of his 70th birthday. There is Nate Carroll, the wide receivers coach. See if a wide receiver gets it here on 1st and goal. It's Carson, and it's a touchdown. What a drive by Seattle. They don't even use a timeout. 7 plays, 75 yards in 48 seconds.
Andrew, when you bring a player into your building, you kind of know what you're going to get because you've done some research on it. And I'm talking about the right guard, Gabe Jackson. You talk about players who can be sparks, who can be energizers. I think on that offensive line, Gabe Jackson is kind of the energizer for that offensive line.
Extra point by Myers is good. On the last 3 possessions for Seattle, they've run 12 plays for 164 yards and 3 touchdowns. We're back in 30 seconds after this. Pete Carroll, Seahawks up 24-9. You think about the sequence with Tennessee thinking they had a touchdown ruled, a touchdown on the field with Julio Jones, wiped out in replay. They settled for a field goal, and then Russell Wilson just did Russell Wilson things on that drive. He's now 11 of 15 in the half for 191 yards and a touchdown.
We talked about how efficient Russell Wilson was last week, and could he match it again? Well, I'd say he's matched it and almost doubled it in the first half so far.
Last week he had 4 touchdowns and only 5 incompletions. 17 seconds left. Titans do have 1 timeout. Myers kicks a low one to Rodgers at the 14. Oh, big hit by Ballore. That was a huge stick by Nick. And Rodgers is tackled by Nick Ballore, who's the special teams captain now at the age of 32.
You talk about the suddenness of hitting somebody. Everybody, you know you're going to get hit while you're running the ball. You don't know it's going to happen with the sudden force that Chester Rogers had to absorb right there.
And with only one timeout, Ryan Tannehill will take a knee, and that is how the first half comes to an end. Pete Carroll and the Seahawks trying to win their 13th consecutive home opener, and Carroll firing up the crowd as he runs off the field. That's the end of the first half with the score 24-9. Halftime next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. 3 yards of offense for the Seahawks. Back in the broadcast booth with James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan. We'll hear from Sherry Burris coming up. It's only been 6 quarters, but I'd say the marriage between offensive coordinator Shane Waldron and Russell Wilson is off to a very nice start.
It really is, and when you're going to review film on them on Monday morning, you're going to see a lot of big plays. You're going to see that patience in the pocket that Russell Wilson has always displayed. And I think Russell not going with, being too aggressive sometimes, but there are times when he moves around the pocket and he moves to throw the ball down the field, not to scramble to run. And he says, I know that, the defense knows it, and they still can't stop him.
Tennessee will get the football to start the second half. Rodgers from his own 1. And Rodgers is tackled by Darrell Taylor as we check in with Sherry.
Andrew, a point of emphasis from Mike Vrabel was special teams, as well as talking about turning the ball over there in the red zone. You mentioned they were struggling. He told me in the second half, we're going to see what we're made of. As for Pete Carroll, he said he likes the balance in his offense between the passing game and the run game, and to not let Tennessee back into this one. They want to keep Derrick Henry from being a factor. Andrew?
All right, Sherry, thank you very much. Tennessee will start this drive at its own 20-yard line. Derrick Henry had 35 yards rushing in the first half. Gets the call to start the second half, and some room on that right side across the 25 and up to the 31-yard line. That's good for a Tennessee first down.
If you just looked at Derrick Henry's carries in the first half, not the yardage, just the carries, 13 rushing attempts. So if you factor that out for the whole game, I'm going to go advanced math here. That would be 26 carries. That's about what you want from Derrick Henry. You want to get those 20, 26 carries because he's going to end up breaking a long run at some point in the ballgame.
A pitch to Henry. And Henry rolls up to the 34, a gain of 3. Well, since 1990, and things have changed since 1990 in terms of the playoff structure. Yeah, now you're not. You start 0-2, you make the playoffs 11% of the time. As the Titans have another injury, it's Saffold again, who we saw go out in the first half, miss a couple plays in return. With Mike Vrabel concerned, he comes out to the field as the Tennessee training staff attends to Saffold. He is no stranger to playing the Seahawks. He spent the first 9 years of his career with the Rams. There's Taylor Lewan, who injured his right knee in pregame warmups. We showed you the video at the beginning of the game. Lewan was anxious to get back out on the field after allowing 2 sacks a week ago against Arizona. And hopefully for Lewan, he's able to get back out there soon. Tennessee returns home next week to take on the Indianapolis Colts, who fell to 0-2 today, losing to the Rams. So once again, Brewer comes in to play left guard as Saffold slowly exits.
Three wide receiver set to kind of loosen up that run box a little bit, and Derrick Henry, even now, an empty backfield.
On 2nd and 7, Tannehill over the middle, and it's caught. That is Michael Pruitt reeling it in, and they're going to mark him about a half-yard shy of a first down. Bobby Wagner on the tackle for Seattle.
Talked about the Seahawks playing with a little bit of pace here. The Titans trying to do it, and in a way, trying to keep the crowd out of it, but the crowd still very vocal.
On 3rd and 1, Henry has the first down. He keeps moving those legs up to the 44-yard line. And there's been a lot of extracurricular here today, and it continues. Pruitt and Jamal Adams this time exchanging pleasantries.
And you're burning time on the play clock if you're on offense. You don't have a lot of time to get things called in the huddle. You can't make a lot of changes at the line of scrimmage because of the volume of the fans.
See Pruitt finishing his block with Adams, and then right in his face, getting back up. Jamal Adams doesn't like that. First down and 10. Tannehill fires, and it's caught. A.J. Brown with the reception in Seattle territory. A gain of 15.
Just enough run on the first 3 downs. Now you get the linebackers to step up. You get that void area. And you're going to have Brown, you're going to have Julio Jones, big receivers pushing off and coming back just enough to the ball to have that separation between themselves and the cornerback.
Working on Trey Flowers, the 4th-year corner for Seattle. They go back to Henry, and he's going nowhere. Al Woods, the former Titan, making the tackle. Loss of 2 on the play.
There is a commitment by the Seattle Seahawks on 1st and 2nd rundowns to stop Derrick Henry. Hey, we'll give you a play action hook now and then, but on 1st and 2nd down, we're going to commit to the line of scrimmage. Jamal Adams is going to be up there as a run fit. We're going to have all 3 linebackers, and we're going to show you an 8-man box if you're going to line up in a run formation. Now, another empty backfield set.
And James, they've been using 5 linemen up front defensively as well. Tannehill has Pruitt. He's got a lot of room to run. First down, Tennessee, and shoved out of bounds. And a late flag. Jordan Brooks, a little bit too much on that sideline.
You know, I know it's out of bounds, but it wasn't egregious. I mean, you have 2 big guys going against each other.
Personal foul. Unnecessary roughness defense. Number 56.
The final shove.
From the spot of the foul. Automatic. First down.
And James, I agree with you that wasn't overly egregious. However, we've seen tempers flaring all day, and if the refs don't throw something like that, it could be escalated even more. So I see it from their side as well.
What you don't want to be, you don't want to be the second guy to retaliate. You go back a couple of plays prior when Pruitt's at the bottom of the pile kind of pushing and shoving a little bit, and all the defenders saw that. So now they're trying to get a little bit extra on him as they push him out of bounds. So nice job by Pruitt keeping his composure as he went out of bounds also.
Tannehill broken up, and a flag comes in. Jamal Adams got his hand on it, but the flag could also be on Adams.
It looked like he reached around really well with the right arm to knock that ball. He might have bumped him a little early with the body, but that was a close play to being a non-call.
Holding. Defense. Number 57. 5-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
So that's away from where the ball was, and that's been a point of emphasis the last 2 or 3 years, to call illegal contact holding away from where the ball is being thrown so that you can't get away with it on a regular basis.
So back-to-back penalties against Seattle, totaling 19 yards. And this is where Tennessee, if they're going to get back in this game, they cannot settle for another field goal. Already 3 field goals today. They have it 1st and goal at the 9-yard line.
So do you give Derrick Henry the ball on 1st down and try and just bludgeon your way into the end zone, or do you go with the play action pass?
They give it to Henry. Reverses field. Henry at the 5. Can he get in? He will! What a run! And a touchdown for Derrick Henry. Much needed completed by Tennessee, their first score of the day.
Bottled up at the point of attack. You're trying to run that stretch play to the right side. Derrick Henry, and look at how he shifts the ball to his off arm so that he has to use, if he has to use that lethal stiff arm, he's able to do it, but able to run away from the defenders. You can see the speed that's trapped up inside that big body of Derrick Henry.
That's what Pete Carroll told us Friday. He said Derrick Henry doesn't look fast, but he plays fast. And we saw it on that run as Randy Bullock converts the extra point. Derrick Henry with his first touchdown of the season, and we've got a one-score game in Seattle. Derrick Henry makes it an 8-point game here in the third quarter in Seattle. He had 35 yards rushing in the first half and 25 yards, including the touchdown run on that last drive. Bullock to kick it away. Dallas, the deep man. It bounces at the 7. Dallas fields it at the 4. Dallas, and he can't get away. Westbrook Akina made the initial hit to slow down DJ Dallas. Now let's take a look at some of the early headlines in the NFL. Derek Carr and the Raiders improve to 2-0. Meanwhile, Patriots win on a rough day for Zach Wilson, and yeah, the guy Wilson replaced Sam Darnold with 305 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Rams go to 2-0 as well, beating the Colts. Matthew Stafford in that game, 278 yards passing and 2 touchdowns.
This will be a challenge for Seattle right here. Backed up field position, trying to get the ball out after Tennessee mounted some momentum with their offensive performance in the first drive.
And you see the numbers there. Russell Wilson play action, 3 for 3 for 130 yards in the first half. They start this drive on the ground, and James, that's not surprising. Last week they ran on first down 66% of the time, second highest in the NFL.
And right there behind new guard Gabe Jackson doing a nice job turning his man, not getting called for offensive holding. Nice job with the footwork.
8-yard run by Carson, 2nd and 2. Quick pass, Lockett trying to get him in space. And a nice tackle is made by Chris Jackson.
Now that was a run where you took the ball out of the hands of the running back and thought, well, you got that cushion out there. I'll get the ball to my wide receiver. He'll be able to do something with it.
We met with Shane Bowen on Thursday via Zoom, and he said, I'm thinking about shaving the beard.
He couldn't find a razor this week, though.
We have our answer. Didn't happen. Third down. Wilson trips on the pitch. Carson slips a tackle, reaches, and I don't think he got there.
Either the center or the guard stepped on Russell Wilson's foot as he's trying to get that pitch out.
And they are moving the chains.
Wow.
Generous spot. Tennessee thought they had made the play. Mike Vrabel want to get a look at this one. He's got his hand on his challenge flag.
But there's a great arm extension trying to get the ball out by the runner.
No challenge. Vrabel lets it go. Quick pass to Metcalf. Gets away from Evans. And Metcalf bulldozes his way to the 35. 14-yard pickup for DK Metcalf.
What was it when you used to slam dunk on somebody, you would posterize them? DK Metcalf does that when he runs the ball after the catch. If you're waiting to tackle him, he's going to run over you. That's the second time that he's gotten Jackrabbit Jenkins.
You asked Tyler Lockett if DK Metcalf is as strong as he looks. Tyler said, what you see is what you get. Wilson in trouble. Pump fakes, creates some time, and completes it to Lockett. Wow, looked like Russell Wilson was in trouble. But as Bowen pointed out to us, he has that spider sense in the pocket, elusive on that play, and a first down.
So a drive that looked like it had been stalled. The offensive lineman steps on Russell Wilson's foot. He gets the ball out. And on this one, he ducks down low, and then he drops the arm and throws that ball to complete the double play. He did play baseball.
Alex Collins comes in at running back. 1 carry in the first half for 25 yards. Wilson, down he goes. Murchison makes the play. Injury update, let's check in with Sherry.
Andrew, Roger Saffold is now downgraded to questionable. You may remember he was having a shoulder injury earlier, but now the trainer is telling us he is questionable to return.
Jerry, thank you. And after the entire week of you figuring out how much rain gear you needed to pack for Seattle, you've been out in the sunshine all day.
I have. It is very hot on the other side. I have rain boots. I have a raincoat that is not needed. Whoever dialed up this fantastic weather in Seattle, I thank them.
Yeah, it's gorgeous out today for the home opener. Nothing to do with you, James. Wilson to the air. Another completion to Lockett right in front of Jenkins.
You know, it's interesting working that sideline because I remember being an opposing coach thinking that the sun is in my receiver's eyes on that side of the field, but the Seahawks don't seem like they're worried about that at all.
_148th consecutive sellout at Lumen Field. Pete Carroll said a big deal to have the fans back, and you saw him running off the field at halftime, firing everyone up, and now he runs down to call a timeout as the play clock was winding down. So 3rd down and 2 coming, first time out of the half for either team. Well, Saturday, a college football doubleheader on CBS begins at noon Eastern with a Mountain West matchup between Boise State and Utah State. Sherry will be in Logan for that one. Then at 3:30, the SEC on CBS features 7th-ranked A&M against Arkansas. A full afternoon of college football Saturday on CBS. And Ryan Tannehill, an A&M product, reunited with Randy Bullock. In fact, at Texas A&M, Tannehill was the holder for Bullock. Said he walked into the cafeteria this week and there was Randy Bullock back in the house. And the current Titans kicker, Sam Ficken, going on IR 2 days before the opener. Badgley cut, and now Bullock. So far, so good. On this drive, Russell Wilson is 4 of 4 for 36 yards. 3rd down and 2. Wilson to Carson, hit and stopped. Big play by that Tennessee defense, and it was David Long, the first to get back there. And Pete Carroll does not hesitate, sending out his punter, Michael Dixon.
It's always a chess match when you're trying to give them a pass look on 3rd down and then decide to run the ball, and you're outnumbered blocking the guys in the defensive box.
Seattle now 2 for 7 on 3rd downs today. It's 4th and 3. Dixon to Rodgers, who calls for a fair catch at the 8-yard line. So Tennessee with the touchdown, and the defense comes up with a hold. 5:41 to go, an 8-point game. Arena, new home of the Seattle Kraken, the hockey team set to open up play next month. Titans down by 8. They get the ball back, but backed up to start this drive. Henry at running back takes the handoff. Henry jumping over the line to pick up 2. Ken Norton Jr., the Seahawks defensive coordinator, said Henry reminds him a little bit of Christian Okoye. And then we asked Pete Carroll, go back in his database in his mind, and Pete Carroll came up with something interesting. He said, I'm not comparing him to Jim Brown, but he has some of those Jim Brown characteristics.
Kind of the finishing skills of Jim Brown when he has a run. But Jim Brown was great with how slowly he got up off the ground after the play was over.
Fans making some noise. The Hawks nest right behind Tannehill on 2nd down. Over the middle to Pruitt, and he holds on and stays on his feet. Oh, now they're going to say he was down. That was close. But they mark him down at the 31 for a 22-yard gain. And without Anthony Ferkser, Michael Pruitt has made some big plays today.
But once again, that kind of just play-action pass, you have a jet sweep going by right behind you, and it freezes the linebackers for a second, and nobody gets a hand on Pruitt just goes right down the seam and catches it in between the deep safety and the middle linebacker.
Third catch today from Michael Pruitt. He had 5 catches all of last year. Tannehill to Henry at the 35. First down for Tennessee. Bobby Wagner makes the tackle. It's a couple of times now in the passing game that Henry has found some room to run, James.
And it's funny because you see him run on screens, and on screens he's really ready to go. On that he had a little route out of the backfield, and it was like, yes, I've caught it. Now what's around me? Instead of just turning and bursting.
Cody Barton runs on late for Seattle. Henry right up the gut. And Henry takes it out to midfield. It's been a different Derrick Henry so far in this second half compared to the first half.
Well, it's been a consistent theme. We're going to run him. In the first half, he averaged 2.7 yards per carry on 13 carries. And you would think, well, we need to get away from that. We need to go in a different direction. No, we're going to stick with Derrick Henry, a guy who had 2,000 yards last year, back-to-back rushing titles. He's going to run the football. He's going to be the way we're going to get back in this game.
2nd and 4. Henry following his blocks on the right side into Seattle territory and picks up another first down. Nate Davis with a good block, the third-year right guard out of Charlotte.
And it is getting big guys out in space. And remember, once you get outside the tackle box, you've got to stay up. If you're the defender or if you're the offensive player, you can't go low, you can't cut somebody. And it's really a huge advantage for those offensive linemen once they get outside that tackle box, because those defensive backs are tiny people compared to big offensive linemen.
You said big offensive linemen. In the 4th grade, Nate Davis weighed 200 pounds. Right now he's listed at 316. Nick Nichols in at running back. Tannehill, and he threw it a little bit behind A.J. Brown, who could not hold on. And then Brown took a big shot over the middle.
That big shot was delivered by Jamal Adams. And I remember being out at practice Friday and thinking, that's Jamal Adams, because in my mind, I think of Jamal Adams as being a 5'10", 5'9" safety. He's all of 6'1", big. You harken back to when you had big safeties, when you had Cam Chancellor here. He is so physical and such a force that you've always got to find where he is on the field.
Henry on the sideline for another play. 2nd down and 10. Tannehill to the air, juggled, Jones dropped it, should have had it. 3rd Tennessee drop today.
Those yak yards are really important. Yards after catch, not yards almost caught. And Derrick, when you talk about Julio Jones and as good as he is, he knows he should have made that play. I'd come right back to him because he feels like he owes the team right now.
3rd and 10.
You might get a twist on the interior with the pass rush.
Low snap, Tannehill fields it, throws it, and it is caught over the middle. What a job by Rodgers to hold on to that one. And a first down for Tennessee.
Chester Rogers joined this team last year, and it was on the practice squad, and everybody was watching him and how competitive he was, and he earned his way into the top 3 wide receiver position going into this year. He'd been with the Colts, free agent out of Grambling, a guy that you didn't think a whole lot of, but he is so tough over the middle and will sacrifice his body to catch the ball.
Tannehill told us he has a lot of confidence in Rodgers and proved it there on 3rd down as Henry is back. And no gain on the play for Derrick Henry. Robert Kimdichie making the tackle. Approaching 1 minute to go in the 3rd quarter. A good one here in the Seahawks home opener on CBS.
So if you're calling plays for the Tennessee Titans, one of the things that I used to always hear offensive coordinators talk about, think players, not plays. Who do you want to get the ball to? And you spread it out like this, you're telling me, I want to get the ball to Julio Jones or I want to get the ball to A.J. Brown.
Tannehill over the middle, and the catch is made. That's Jeff Swaim. Bobby Wagner makes the tackle, and he's having another big day for that Seattle defense.
Well, he just doesn't miss tackles, and when he is playing, he makes sure that you feel him. He is a physical player, very clean player, and knows how to tackle and wrap up and take down the ball carriers.
12 tackles today for Wagner. He had 13 a week ago.
You talk about 12. The 12s are getting involved in this third down attempt here. The fans are very vocal.
3rd and 5. Tannehill has time, now throws it away. Pressure was coming from Kerry Hyder. And it's 4th and 5 with 1 second on the clock here in the third quarter. And this could be a spot where Mike Vrabel goes for it, James. What do you think?
Well, he gave the signal to the special teams coach, send him out there. He almost wishes that the clock was running so he could take this decision into the next quarter.
He does send out Randy Bullock. On 4th and 5, it's Bullock for a 44-yard field goal attempt. Bullock's kick on the way, and it is no good. The kicker woes continue for Mike Vrabel and the Titans. Bullock misses from 44 yards to close out the third quarter. Back at Lumen Field, start of the fourth quarter. It's 24-16 in favor of Seattle. For the Seahawks, kicker Jason Myers has made 36 field goals in a row. Since that streak started in 2019, Tennessee has attempted 39 field goals, and they've missed 15 of them. So an 8-point game to open up the fourth quarter. Russell Wilson to the air on first down, trying to set up the screen. He's got Carson with a flag down. Carson, and now multiple flags down. Carson runs out of bounds. And we'll see what the call is from John Hussey.
It's holding on DK Metcalf. I don't know why he wouldn't run off the defensive back in that area of the field.
Well, if it is against Metcalf, it would be his 4th penalty of the year. He had 3 all of last season.
I think Pete is going to get on his position coach, maybe. Nate.
I don't know how that would go over the holidays.
Not real well.
There are 2 calls on the play, both by the same team. Holding, offense, number 14. That penalty is declined. Pass interference, offense, number 14. That penalty is accepted. 10 yards from the previous spot, first down.
Double whammy on DK Metcalf. Back in the broadcast booth with James Lofton, I'm Andrew Catalan. And credit to Tennessee, they're hanging around in this one, but they've got to score points in the red zone. I know they weren't in the red zone last time,
correct,
but coming up empty, they're not going to win games on the road like that.
And we have gotten to the point of the game where it seems like every play is super important, that every play the game is almost kind of hinging on, because both these teams are putting up an effort that is worthy of getting a W.
1st and 20 after the penalty. Quick pass, Swain hit hard. Tennessee was ready for that. Chris Jackson and Rashaan Evans with the tackle. Let's go back to the DK Metcalf penalty on first down.
And you can see the grab, but if the cornerback has you one-on-one in man coverage and you're going to run a screen to that side, you can run him off and just run him to the deep third area. He's going to go with you. You're DK Metcalf. You're a deep play threat.
Wilson, Lockett, and tackled at the 31 by David Long. We'll bring up 3rd and long for Seattle.
Kind of just chipping away a little bit, trying to reduce it to, yes, a long 3rd down situation, but not a 3rd and 20 situation. Because you're going to have to hold the ball here. So you're got to let those routes develop and make a throw away from the defenders to your guy so that you can take advantage of whatever coverage they're going to throw at you.
Homer lined up in the slot on 3rd and 11. Wilson has time, taking a deep shot, wide open, and there he goes! Touchdown, Seattle, Freddie Swain! And what happened on defense?
You've got a coverage shell right here where you're going to keep everything in front of you except for one lone guy who's headed to the end zone. And you're thinking, we've got to stop the 3rd and 13 throw. We've got to stop the first down. We've got to manage and cover the entire field. At every moment, Russell Wilson is in the pocket.
A 68-yard touchdown. And for Swain, that is his 3rd career touchdown. The extra point is no good by Myers. First time he's missed an extra point this season. But another big play. Russell Wilson now over 300 yards on the day. .303 yards passing for Russell Wilson. 21st time in his career he's gone over 300, and he has 2 touchdown passes of over 60 yards, one to Lockett and the most recent one to Swain. And Russell Wilson playing with a heavy heart this week. His best friend, as he called him, and mental conditioning coach Trevor Moawad passed away this week at the age of 48. He had been battling cancer, and Wilson spoke emotionally for 8 minutes at his press conference on Thursday, saying his heart is heavy. And then we asked him about it as well when we met with Russell on Friday. He said that Trevor will always be with me. Even though he had to leave, I know he prepared me well. And he would always text me, I believe in 3. Russell Wilson's number 3. Clearly a tough week for Russell Wilson. And so far, he has delivered an inspiring performance. Tannehill throwing to Brown on first, and he's got a first down. For more on Wilson, we send it down to Sherry.
Andrew, Russell Wilson really showing some emotion when we asked him about it, playing for his friend Trevor Moawad. And you mentioned some of those phrases he would say to him, and he wrote that on his cleats. Let's show you. He wrote, "In loving memory of my friend Trevor Moawad," with some of the phrases such as neutral. And Russ told us he's going to look down at that and think of his friend Trevor, and that just kind of helps him reset while he's in the game.
And Sherry, thank you and condolences to the entire Moawad family. Here's Derrick Henry with some nice running. Henry trying to turn it on inside the 30, stays on his feet, and he will go! Derrick Henry, 60 yards! Just what the doctor ordered for the Tennessee Titans.
If you don't have great gap control, and by that I mean there has to be a defender in each and every gap, Derrick Henry's going to get through, and he's going to make you pay. And you know what, I think Derrick Henry is actually smarting a little bit. There was a high schooler in Florida who broke his all-time single-game rushing record of over 500 yards this past weekend. So maybe Derrick Henry's thinking, you know, I got to get back at that kid.
He's
really
got
proud of that kid.
135 today, his 2nd rushing touchdown, and we've got a 7-point game in Seattle. We've seen 739 yards of offense in this game, and we still got a long way to go in the 4th quarter. Derrick Henry making it a 7-point game. It's a touchback for Randy Bullock. And James, let's take another look at that touchdown run by Henry.
I talked about gap control on defense. You've got to cover each gap. Jamal Adams here on the backside, Flowers on the backside. They're going to leave a hole, and you leave a hole for Derrick Henry, you create trouble on the back end for your safety one-on-one matchup. Derrick Henry, hard to tackle in the open field. I know that's a news flash. Hard to tackle in the open field.
When Henry rushes for 2 touchdowns or more in his career, Tennessee is 14-0. But down by 7 with 12:17 to play.
You know, Gerald Everett, tight end number 81, has been very quiet so far.
It's Swain who caught that last touchdown, and not much doing there. Seattle without D. Eskridge today. The rookie wide receiver from Western Michigan is sidelined by a concussion. He's been there jet sweep guy in the preseason and last week. And right there, it was Freddie Swain.
We talked to Pete Carroll about that jet sweep, that zoom sweep, whatever he wants to call it. And he said, you know, they did it with Percy Harvin and might have done it a little too much where it affected their offense. So you still go with what your people do best offensively.
Play fake. Wilson gets rid of it. There's Everett, but nothing doing. Kevin Byard, stride for stride with Everett. And it's third down.
You can see in the last two drives that Tennessee has ratcheted up a notch. Now, they did give up the 60-yard touchdown on 3rd and 13, but they had pushed Seattle back in those drives, and now Seattle in a very manageable 3rd and 3. But still, watch out for this Tennessee Titans. I think they're really going to commit to the line of scrimmage and trying to get after Russell Wilson.
Seattle goes empty on 3rd down and short. Wilson taking a deep shot down the field, and it's broken up. Christian Fulton getting a hand on it. He's been in a good battle all day long with DK Metcalf, and Fulton wins that one.
DK Metcalf gives up a little bit too much of the field. He drifts away from Fulton instead of pinning his body next to him and catching that ball over the outside shoulder. As he drifts out, Fulton is able to really close in. Tight coverage, no flag, no problem.
Just the second 3-and-out today by the Seattle offense, and Tennessee's going to get the football back. Dixon punting to Rodgers. Good punt by Dixon all the way to the 9-yard line. Rodgers hit hard at the 19. Big tackle made on the play by DJ Dallas. A 59-yard punt by Dixon. 10:43 to go. Seattle leads Tennessee by 7, along with James Lofton, Sherry Burris, Gene Steratore, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. And at left guard, it's Aaron Brewer. You saw Roger Saffold get shaken up a couple of times in this game, so Brewer starts this drive at left guard for the Titans, and they begin it on the ground with Henry. And Henry gets to the 21-yard line, a gain of 3. Al Woods on the tackle for the Seahawks. James Lofton, Tennessee's been in a good groove here in the second half, coming off the touchdown run by Derrick Henry. Do you expect more of the same with Henry?
Well, they've had so many hiccups along the offensive line with personnel in and out. I think they've done a really good job in this second half protecting the quarterback. So go ahead and throw the football if you want to. There's
Henry again, though, and he's able to cross the 25. And now this half, Derrick Henry has 12 carries for 109 yards. Coming up after the game, time permitting, the State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower have all the latest scores and highlights coming up on the State Farm postgame show. Big play here. It's 3rd down and 1. Tannehill takes it himself for the first down, and that temporarily quiets this raucous crowd at Lumen Field.
So many big plays offensively. 5 touchdowns of over 50 yards, or 5 50-yard plays, 4 passing, 1 rushing. That little 1-yard lunge there by Tannehill, like you say, quieted the whole crowd.
A.J. Brown at the bottom of your screen. Michael Pruitt goes in motion. Tannehill to Brown, and he could not hold on. Trey Flowers had the coverage, and A.J. Brown's had an uneven day for Tennessee.
But you talk about long corners, and this is what it means. A corner with long levers can come around the wide receiver and use his hands to bat that ball away once it's into the wide receiver's body. But you're right. A.J. Brown needs to come through that ball. He's trying to catch it and turn up the field a little bit early. But nice coverage by Trey Flowers.
3 catches, 43 yards for A.J. Brown today. Rodgers in motion. Tannehill He's going to take it himself, has some room, and another first down run by Ryan Tannehill. Slides down at his own 49-yard line after a pickup of 20.
Got the defense off balance. Whenever you have a quarterback who can run, and Tannehill certainly can use his legs to his advantage. When you are in zone coverage, you're going to have your eyes on the quarterback. Tannehill, even with an awkward landing there, looks like he's still in good shape.
Amadi with the hit, but it's a first down run for Tennessee. Tannehill loading up, taking a deep shot. He's got a man down there, and it's incomplete. A.J. Brown, the intended target, and D.J. Reed had the recovery. And now a flag comes in. That is a late flag.
Well, it's a taunting call. D.J. Reed got up and kind of flexed toward A.J. Brown and kind of had a few words there to say. Now, if the receiver had caught it, got up and spun the ball, no taunting there.
After the play was over, taunting. Defense, number 2. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic. First down. That's number 2's first foul in the category of unsportsmanlike conduct. He gets another foul in the same category, he will be disqualified.
I understand the rule. I understand why we're trying to go with it. I just don't think that the rule should have been applied right there.
That's the 8th penalty on Seattle, totaling 81 yards. And it gives Tennessee a first down. Gene Steratore, what did you see there?
I understand the optics of it, but I can tell you that the directive from the NFL is if a player stands up and in that quick reaction directs at his opponent, they do not want to talk to. They want to flag immediately to try to get this out of the game, guys.
All right, Gene, thank you. And for Seattle, DK Metcalf had a taunting penalty last week, and now DJ Reed with the taunting penalty today.
That was our no fun uncle giving us the call on the phone there once again.
You're giving Gene a hard time. Gene was right on the money with that overturned touchdown.
You know what? If you turn and you do that to the crowd, you're a lot better off. Play to your crowd as opposed to playing through your opponent. I understand it, Gene.
Second down and 10. Tannehill is wrapped up by Woods. Al Woods spent 3 years as a member of the Titans. Did not play football last year, opted out with Jacksonville, and he comes up with the sack here.
Boy, that's a great big man sack, and that's a sack you give in between the guards. Just that constant push where you're putting effort every time. Yeah, the guys on the edge, they get all the pressure, they get all the hero welcomes when they go out to eat. But those big guys in the middle, if they can push the pocket, they can really disrupt the passer.
And you wonder, with not only the time left in the game, but the kicker issues, if this is 4-down territory. Tannehill completes it to Julio Jones. He's 2 yards shy of a first down. And you got to expect Mike Vrabel's going to go for it. He's already seen Bullock miss a 44-yard field goal.
A little bit of a double catch there by Julio. If he catches it cleanly, he might run after the catch. But right there, good coverage by Reed, the victim of the unsportsmanlike penalty.
They're going for it. 4th and 2. Derrick Henry not in there. It's McNichols at running back. Tannehill pump fakes, in trouble, throws it incomplete. Kerry Hyder applying the pressure for Seattle. On 4th down, Tannehill not able to move the sticks, and it's Seattle ball. Over on down, so it's Seattle football at their own 30-yard line. They lead it by 7 with 5:46 to go. And after that last play, Tennessee's center Ben Jones limped off the field. So a ton of offensive line issues for Tennessee. Carson on first down. and he picks up a couple. Next Sunday, week 3 of the NFL on CBS features a whole host of great matchups. Chargers, Chiefs, Bengals take on the Steelers, and the Dolphins go to visit the 2-0 Raiders. Our coverage begins at noon Eastern with JB and the guys on the NFL Today. That's next Sunday, the NFL on CBS. Mike Vrabel going forward on 4th down, not able to convert, needs his defense to come up with another stop as we approach 5 minutes to play. Wilson, quick pass, incomplete. Pressure was coming from Harold Landry.
Yeah, a little bit of a low snap, and Russell Wilson kind of had to reach out to it, and that moved him outside the pocket. You know, and I think a late reaction by the offensive line to the snap also.
And now right away, Seattle looking at 3rd down and 8, and they have struggled on 3rd down today, going 3 for 9. Pressure coming. Wilson sees it, throws it, completes it to Metcalf, and he is 1 yard shy of a 1st down. And what does Pete Carroll do here? 4th and 1, inside 5 minutes to go.
Bleed down a little bit. DK Metcalf limping off the field now.
And Metcalf comes off, and Penny Hart replaces him. And are we going to get a hard count, or are we going to get a play?
Well, you're trying to get quiet. You see Dwayne Brown, number 76, big left tackle, saying, give us an ability to hear the quarterback here.
Carson, the running back. Play clock at 5, and movement, and Seattle jumps.
False start. Offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
It's on the left guard, Damian Lewis, and now Pete Carroll will send out his punt unit. Titans knew it right away. He was lined up against Bud Dupree, and Lewis commits the penalty. He had 9 of them last year, and a critical one here late in the 4th quarter. So Dixon out to punt, Chester Rogers the deep man. Dixon averaging 54 yards per punt today. Uncorks another good one, a low one. Rogers slips a tackle. Can he get to the other side of the field? Cuts it back at the 30 and down at the 32-yard line. 46-yard punt, but a 13-yard return. So Ryan Tannehill comes back out, and good news here as the center, Ben Jones, is able to come out with him. You look at the quarterback numbers, Tannehill 283 yards passing, Wilson with 313 through the air. So they've got Sambrilo at left tackle, Brewer at left guard. Henry, the running back, he was not in there on 4th down. Takes the handoff here. Henry, nice run across the 35, but a late flag comes in.
Might have gotten Ben Jones on a hold.
Offense, number 60. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
Al Woods is lined up over Ben Jones and trying to get that penetration. Jones having to snap the ball, then step to his right. It's a tough block. You see him twisting and turning, and once he turns and he gets out of position a little bit, he's holding Ben Jones and he's exposed.
And here come the fans in Seattle. Completes it to Julio Jones, takes a big hit, stays on his feet, still going to the 32-yard line. Reed and Brooks combined on the tackle, but a big game for Julio Jones. He's got 128.
And you can see how energized Julio Jones is. He had a mistake last week where he got called for shoving after the play was over, and he felt like he didn't show the best version that he has of himself. Well, he's doing it today.
Tannehill screen. Henry makes the catch. Blockers in front. Henry first down. Still going up to the 46-yard line. Nate Davis, another big block for Tennessee.
And those screens out in space with the new rules that you cannot cut below the knees, whether you're on offense or defense, is really a big advantage for these big offensive linemen. And Nate Davis doing just a great job running a track, staying right in front of the defensive player.
Tannehill over the middle. Henry immediately hit by Bobby Wagner with exactly 3 minutes to play. A 4-yard gain. That's the 4th catch for Derrick Henry today. That matches a career high. 2nd and 6 with the clock running.
Could almost bring pressure here knowing that they're not going to run it.
Tannehill to McNichols. He's got a first down into Seattle territory and tackled by Wagner at the 41-yard line. 2.5 to play. Tannehill now over 300 yards. He's thrown for 320 today. Hand off McNichols. And he spins his way to the 38-yard line. We'll see if Tennessee can run a play before the 2-minute warning.
You got a lot of tired defenders on that defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks right now. Not getting a lot of pressure on Ryan Tannehill.
Tannehill does take the snap. Has time. And checks it down to McNichols, who has another first down. Stretches out to the 26-yard line. And we've hit the 2-minute warning. Tennessee driving down 7 on CBS. Seattle trying to win its 13th consecutive home opener. They've got a 7-point lead with 1:54 to play, but the Titans are driving. 1st and 10 at the 26. Derrick Henry with 139 yards this half, which is more than Seattle has as a team. Henry adding to his total inside the 20 and down at the 18-yard line. Tennessee with 3 timeouts remaining. Seattle has 2.
And no issues with running the ball. If you're Tennessee, like you say, 3 timeouts remain. They want to make use as much time on the clock here as they can.
They go to Henry, and he picks up the first down. Only needed a couple. Clock continues to tick. 1:25 and counting.
A little bit of a surprise to have Julio Jones on the sideline standing next to the coaching staff. Could use him down here in the red area.
Instead, Josh Reynolds is out there. Tannehill stands in there, completes it to Henry, who's tackled at the 11-yard line. 1 minute to go. Ryan Tannehill, Mike Vrabel in no hurry to use their timeouts. They saw Russell Wilson go right down the field at the end of the first half. They don't want to leave Wilson with any time. 2nd down and 6. Tannehill completes it. McNichols at the 5. And McNichols is tackled right there. And Mike Vrabel calls a timeout with 34 seconds to go. Alongside James Lofton, Sherry Burris, and Gene Steratore, I'm Andrew Catalan. Welcome to a raucous atmosphere in Seattle. It's been a heck of a game. Here's a look at our game summary. Russell Wilson has thrown for 313 yards. A 63-yard touchdown to Tyler Lockett included. Derrick Henry's had the hot hand in the second half. He's got 2 rushing touchdowns and 156 yards on the ground. But a coverage breakdown by Tennessee led to another big play touchdown to Freddie Swain. Henry able to answer. This was his 2nd touchdown run. Tennessee without its starting left tackle Taylor Lewan, injured in pregame warmups, and their starting left guard Roger Saffold injured during the game. 3rd and 1. Henry up the middle. First down and more. And no signal yet. Yes, he's in. Touchdown. And now, what does Mike Vrabel want to do? Does he go for 2? Or does he tie the game at 30 as we take another look?
You get a touchdown call from the far official, and the official near on this side put it down at the 1-foot line.
Yeah, the FAR official said touchdown, but I don't think that he got in. Jordan Brooks making the tackle. Henry looking for his third touchdown run of the game. And Gene Steratore is with us. How do you see it, Gene?
I see Derrick Henry's right forearm landing before the ball breaks the plane. Now remember with this, they ruled touchdown, which stops the clock. If after review, they ruled Derrick Henry inbounds and down short of the goal line, then 10-second runoff rules will apply. Tennessee can use a timeout to avoid that 10-second runoff, or we could take the game clock from 28 to 18 and then get ready to wind.
All right, Gene, John Hussey, our referee. We had a lengthy review earlier in this game on a Julio Jones catch that was initially ruled a touchdown and then overturned in replay with a foot out of bounds. Tennessee hoping another touchdown is not overturned. It was ruled 6 on the field, and I think the decision is fascinating coming up for Vrabel. He's got Randy Bullock in his first game as a Titan. He's already missed a 44-yard field goal. He's on the road. Let's get the call.
The runner was short of the goal line. We will place the ball down. Will the clock operator please set the game clock to 32 seconds? 3-2, please. By rule, inside of 2 minutes, when we change a play, we must run 10 seconds. Tennessee has elected to use a timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff. So charge timeout, Tennessee.
All right, exactly as Gene described. So now the Titans have 1 timeout and the ball at the 1-yard line. If they get in, we'll see what Vrabel decides to do. But first they have to score.
And Andrew, it's even inside the 1-yard line. And the debate is always, do you quarterback sneak knowing that they're going to really pack inside? Or do you turn and hand off to Derrick Henry, who's lined up 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage?
This packed house in Seattle has been making noise all game long. It's been an incredible atmosphere. Sun is shining, and it's 1st and goal for Tennessee. Tannehill in the shotgun. Handoff, Henry, and he's in for the touchdown. His 3rd score of the game. And Mike Vrabel is not hesitating. He's sending out Bullock to attempt the extra point. If you're just joining us, on Seattle's last touchdown, they missed their extra point. So if he had made it, Myers, Vrabel would have had no choice, would have had to go for 2. Instead, it's Bullock for the point after. And Bullock's kick is good by a hair. We're tied at 30. And Russell Wilson and the Seahawks are going to get the ball back with 2 timeouts remaining. Tonight on CBS, catch all your favorite stars for the Primetime Emmy Awards live. Cedric the Entertainer hosts. That's tonight on CBS. Late in the first half, Russell Wilson and the Seahawks motored right down the field without using a timeout. A 7-play, 75-yard scoring drive, and Wilson looking for some more of that magic with just 29 seconds on the clock.
I think the starting question is, if you're Tennessee, do you dribble this ball on the ground to make Seattle use some of the time that's on the clock, or do you kick it away into the end zone and let them start at the 25?
Seattle has struggled here in the second half offensively, especially on their last 2 possessions. They've run 6 plays for just 13 yards. They do bounce it on the ground, scooped up by Dallas at the 10. And Dallas is tackled at the 26-yard line. 24 seconds to go. Russell Wilson has thrown for 313 yards and 2 touchdowns. Both of those touchdowns were deep ones, 63 to Lockett and 68 yards to Freddie Swain. Jason Myers' career long is 61 yards. That was last year against the Rams. And on the season, this year, last year, and going back to 2019, Myers has made 36 consecutive field goals.
Four-man rush, 7 players back to cover the pass.
Wilson to Homer out of the backfield, low throw, goes to the ground, makes the catch, stays in bounds. So Seattle has to call a timeout. They have 1 remaining. Russell Wilson looking for his 100th career victory. It would be in his 146th start. Only Tom Brady and Joe Montana have gotten to win number 100 in terms of starts. Faster than Russell Wilson if he gets the job done today.
A couple things here, and if you're Russell Wilson, you're programmed to go for the win, to go for the big play. But you also realize we can play this into overtime, because if I don't have it, because the way that the Tennessee Titans are set up, you've got the first linebacker level at about 12 yards deep, and then you've got defenders beyond them. So you don't want to risk a throw that's really going to challenge those guys up front trying to get to the boundaries.
Wilson in trouble, steps up, spins away, keeps the play alive, hit from behind. Bud Dupree with a big hit from behind on Wilson, and there are just 8 seconds on the clock. And behind the play, there's an injured Seahawk.
Got Russell Wilson scrambling to throw, exactly what Mike Vrabel and all the defenders talked about. They realize he's going to try and do that.
That's the right tackle, Brandon Shell, who is still down on the ground for Seattle. So it's been a real tough day for the offensive linemen here in Seattle. Pre-game, Taylor Lewan injured his right knee, inactive. They're starting left guard for the Titans, Saffold, out with an injury, and now the right tackle, Shell, is down. 8 seconds to go. We're back to Seattle in a moment. Jamarco Jones has come in to play right tackle as Brandon Shell slowly walked off the field for the Seahawks. 10 seconds on the clock. Seattle is out of timeouts. It's 3rd down and 7. Tennessee playing an extreme prevent defense here. Wilson buying some time. Now he's going to run it, trying to get out of bounds. He has to, and he does, with 2 seconds on the clock. We have had some famous Hail Marys here in Seattle. And we'll see if Russell Wilson can uncork one here with 2 seconds left.
And to prevent it, on the other end, the Titans are sending in A.J. Brown, receiver, to play back deep. And really, at this point, you want to knock the ball down. You don't want any tips. You don't want any deflections if you're Tennessee.
A.J. Brown, he played defense last week against Arizona, made a tackle at the end of the first half. And now Mike Vrabel will call his final timeout with 2 seconds to go. We mentioned this before, but Russell Wilson playing with a heavy heart in this game. His mental conditioning coach, Trevor Moad, who he considered one of his best friends, died of cancer this week at the age of 48. Russell telling us that Trevor will always be with me. He always would text me before a game, "I believe in 3." Russell wrote Trevor's name on his cleats today and was very emotional discussing the loss of his good friend. And for a crowd that makes so much noise all game long, they are all standing and silent, hoping to witness some Russell Wilson magic here with 2 seconds left. Tennessee has 5 up front and everyone back deep. It's not going to be a Hail Mary. They're just going to try to maybe do some laterals, or no. That is it. Lockett is down, and we are going to overtime. So a Seattle team that has won 12 consecutive home openers, the longest active streak in the league. One more would tie the record set by the Miami Dolphins of the late 70s and 80s. And we'll have a coin toss with John Hussey. And James, I think you have to give a lot of credit to Tennessee, because with this raucous crowd and the way that Seattle was playing in the first half, Tennessee has shown a lot of resiliency here in the second half. A game that has seen a combined 914
All right,
yards.
gentlemen, welcome to modified sudden death overtime. Each team will get a possession. If during your possession you score a touchdown or a defensive safety, you'll be declared the winner. This game could end in a tie. Each team will get 2 timeouts, and all replay will be handled upstairs. Tennessee, you're still the visiting team. What is your call? Tails is the call. Tails is the call. It is tails. Tennessee will receive in this direction.
A loss for Geno Smith. Tennessee wins the toss. It's their football when we come back. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Time here in Seattle alongside James Lofton, Sherry Burris, Gene Steratore, our entire crew. I'm Andrew Catalan. A reminder that kickoff of the Chiefs and Ravens is at 8:22 Eastern time over on NBC. Myers to kick it away. Chester Rogers is back deep. Underway in OT, week 2 of the NFL on CBS. Rogers from his own 3. Rogers runs into his own man at the 17-yard line. So Ryan Tannehill and the Titans offense back on the field. Tannehill, after a slow start, is 26 of 36 for 341 yards passing.
You know, when I think about what Tennessee has done in the second half, it's about Mike Vrabel believing in Derrick Henry. In the first half, Derrick Henry, 13 carries, 35 yards, 2.7 yards per carry. Andrew, in the second half, 17 carries, 126 yards, 7.4 yards per carry. King Henry lives.
Tennessee's had it 5 times in the second half. They scored 3 touchdowns. Tannehill has time, completes it to Henry. That is Derrick Henry's 6th catch of the day. That's a new career high for Henry.
Well, until they split him out wide and throw him a deep ball, he's not really a receiver, Andrew.
Over 200 yards of total offense for the running back, Derrick Henry.
3 tight ends on the right side.
2nd and 4. They give it to Henry. Bobby Wagner is the first to greet him. Bobby Wagner has 17 tackles today. Had 13 a week ago. Not a bad start to his season. And now here they come, the fans on 3rd and 4.
They've got to get these receivers covered up on this side. You've got a free release to the inside receiver, Chester Rogers.
Tannehill trying to communicate the play to his line. They can't hear him. Pressure's coming. Tannehill throws. Incomplete. But a flag comes in. Tannehill was sent to the ground. And that's where the flag is.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, 15 yards, automatic, first down.
Jamal Adams and Kerry Hyder were back there. And I think they're going to get Adams for coming in high. Helmet to helmet. And on 3rd down, a critical penalty goes against Seattle. They now have 100 yards in penalties today.
You just cannot take the extra step and try and punish the quarterback, especially when you go high.
Flag is down before the play and a false start against Tennessee.
False start. Offense, number 62. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Since 2005, this field, Seattle, the second most opponent false start penalties. Only Arizona with more during that time. So a big assist to the 12s here at Lumen Field.
What we have not seen a lot of are bootlegs. We had the bootleg last week where Ryan Tannehill had a fumble and then a touchdown off of it.
Tannehill rolling right, throwing for Brown, incomplete. Would have been a tough catch, but A.J. Brown's had a tough day. And now it's second down and 15.
Tannehill does a nice job on the rollout, getting away from the pressure and getting this ball to an area where it looks like A.J. Brown has a chance to come down with it. With good tight coverage, but A.J. Brown normally would make that play.
Yeah, there's been a couple today when A.J. Brown, you think he would have had them. Not the case today. 9 targets, only 3 catches for Brown. Quick pass to Rodgers, and he dropped it. And that was dangerously close to popping up in the air for an INT. Amadi was right there in 3rd and long.
You know, we talked earlier when this second half started that each play seemed like it was going to have an impact on the game. And you look at the ball that gets dropped by A.J. Brown, that ball gets dropped by Chester Rogers, and it sets up a 3rd and 14 where you're going to be able to come after the passer, and Ryan Tannehill has to hold the ball long enough for his receivers to get down the field.
6 drops by Tennessee today. 3rd and long. Pressure's coming. Tannehill delivers, incomplete. He threw it behind Chester Rogers, and the Seattle defense gets the job done. Out comes the punter, Brett Kern.
You can't say enough about Bobby Wagner. Yes, he's a middle linebacker. He's also in his 10th season. He covers wide receivers out of the backfield. He brings Derrick Henry down. He puts pressure on the quarterback. A do-it-all middle linebacker, one of the best to ever play this game.
He has 17 tackles, 1 sack today. Only the second punt for Brett Kern. Fair catch by Swain at his own 13-yard line. A reminder, kickoff of the Chiefs and Ravens is 8:22 Eastern on NBC. So now all Seattle needs is a field goal, and they would come away with their 13th consecutive win on opening day.
Seattle has had so many big plays offensively, but they haven't had the sustained success just running the football.
Only 176 yards this half. If you go back to the second half now into overtime for Seattle, compared to 318 after halftime for Tennessee. Carson, the running back, on first down. It's a play fake. Wilson looking deep for Lockett, makes the adjustment, but he was out of bounds. Good coverage on the play by Christian Fulton and Dane Cruikshank.
Really superb job by Fulton, kind of running Lockett into the boundary. Lockett not giving Russell Wilson a lot of room to work with, but a good job by Fulton, making sure that he really stressed him against that boundary.
Second and 10. Brandon Shell is not back at right tackle. It's still Jones for Seattle. Wilson overthrows DK Metcalf. Christian Fulton has had good coverage today, frustrating Metcalf, and it's 3rd and 10.
When you are backed up, we talked about the lack of a run game. Now you are stressed because you're going to have to, if you don't pick up a first down here, Andrew, and you punt the ball, you're giving Tennessee a short field to work on.
On 3rd down today, Seattle just 4 for 11. Wilson in trouble. Spins away. He's got to be careful. Nearly a safety, and he throws it away. But if it's grounding, that would be the ball game.
Well, it looks like they have him down at the 1 yard line.
Wow, they do. Tennessee thought he was in the end zone. They're saying that he's down at the 1. He nearly had a walk-off safety.
You've got tight punt formation now. You know, when you talk about safeties, you give the offense the benefit of the doubt to get out of the end zone. Where did the play end?
Cannot challenge in overtime. All replay reviews initiated by the booth. So Rodgers on the return. Tennessee's going to have great field position. He is tackled at the 39-yard line. And let's bring in Gene Steratore. Gene, take us through that last play.
It appears that John Hussey had ruled forward progress at the half-yard line or the 1 yard line as Russell Wilson was being sacked or taken down, attempted to be taken down. And although the replay can initiate a review, if forward progress is ruled, no review can take place. So you go with the judgment of the official on the play, and that judgment is that progress had finished at the 1. No review on the play.
That was very close, though, Gene. Looked like he was in the end zone.
But it was when they first started to spin him around. So he was spun around, and then he threw the ball away after that.
All right.
Derrick Henry time right here.
Tennessee football, 1st and 10. All they need is a field goal to win it. It is Henry trying the left side. He's got some room. Henry lowers his shoulder inside the 30. Good for a Tennessee first down.
You can have penetration, but if you don't have great gap control, Derrick Henry's going to use his vision. Yeah, the offensive linemen are getting knocked back 4 yards, but all he does is bounce around that, and that extra gap, instead of running inside the tackle, just bouncing it outside the tackle. Derrick Henry, great vision to go along with all his physical gifts.
173 yards rushing for Henry. From here, it would be a 45-yard field goal. Henry again up the middle, inside the 25. Now, since 2019, Tennessee has had 14 kickers on their roster. Sam Ficken had won the job in training camp. He got injured 2 days before week 1. They brought in Michael Badgley. He got cut after week 1. Now they bring in Bullock, who coincidentally is number 14. 2nd and 6. Henry to the right side. And Bobby Wagner makes another tackle. With those struggles, James, how does Mike Vrabel play this 3rd and 5?
I think one more Derrick Henry run. You've asked your kicker which hash. He'd rather have the ball on, right hash or left hash, and you run in that direction. This three wide receiver set has actually worked to Tennessee's advantage to really loosen up the defense a little bit.
They do run it with Henry. Cuts it up, and Henry is tackled a yard shy of a first down. And out comes Randy Bullock, who's already missed from 44 yards today, but he did make 3 field goals. Tennessee without its starting left tackle, falling in a big halftime hole. They were down 24-9. Can they walk away with an overtime win? Bullock from 36 yards away, kick on the way, and it is good! Randy Bullock delivers! And just an incredible win on the road in a raucous atmosphere for the Tennessee Titans. Randy Bullock spent the last 4 years with Cincinnati. Let go at the end of the summer, scooped up by Tennessee. And he delivers the overtime winner for the Titans. The 14th kicker on the roster in the last 3 seasons. And number 14 splits the uprights. 24-9 halftime deficit, and the Titans come back to win. A reminder that tonight on CBS is the Emmy Awards. Coming up next, the State Farm postgame show. So for James Lofton, Sherry Burris, and Gene Steratore, this is Andrew Catalan saying so long from Seattle. We'll join James Brown right after this.